Welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining today for our super exciting webinar with the topic Guide the Night, Safe Outdoor Lighting Without Light Pollution. My name is Klaus Mohr and I will be your moderator for that webinar. So with me, my colleagues, Stefanie Schafgotsch.
Good morning.
And Eduardo Pereira.
Greetings from my side.
Have prepared that webinar for you guys out there. We are seeing that there are people coming in, so please give us a short time that other ones can join, because we just see on the screen a lot of people coming in.
Yeah,
for that. Yeah.
That's great. In the meantime, maybe you can write which country are you coming from? Maybe write on the chat that, and maybe also write what is your level of experience with outdoor lighting. What do you expect from this webinar? This would be very interesting for us, really, to start collecting some feedback from your side. That would be great. Still have people joining in. Oh, we have Germany, China. Okay.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Italy. Hey, so in the meantime, as we're just waiting, I will just do a few housekeeping information out there. So important is, as usual on these kind of webinars, you're all muted out there to avoid background noises. But of course, we want, as we have the experts here, we of course want to answer as much questions as we can from your side. So please send us your questions immediately as soon as if there is something, please send it through to us. In the end, we have time, but please also apologize, because typically on these webinars, there's many questions are coming. We may not answer all of them, so please apologize for that. The webinar is recorded, so in the end, everyone who is registered will get a recording of the webinar. And if you have any technical issues or problems, so just let us know. Our technical team sitting in the background will support.
Yeah,
Eddie, please.
I think there are even more countries joining in. So Hungary, Italy, Belgium, Vietnam, Ireland, UK, welcome. As Klaus just said, there will be a video part of it. We ask you to pay a lot of attention in what we have prepared for you, and we will be open for questions after that. You can write your questions during the video session. So as the questions are popping up as we speak, do not hesitate to use the chat function to really write your questions and your doubts. Thank you very much.
And also, thank you very much for the good wishes for the webinar. Thank you, guys. So,
thank you.
But then I would say, shall we still wait? No, I would say we start with the presentation part. This was pre-recorded already from you both. So, and after that, we come back to your questions. So, Sandra, would you please be so kind to start the video?
Welcome to our outdoor webinar. The topic for today is our solution for outdoor lighting, and we'll try within this presentation to show you how we can bring the bright from the stars back. So imagine this. You are on a camping trip far away from the city, lying under the open sky, and the sun is going down, and the light starts to go down, so the city is not there, and suddenly all the stars start coming into the sky, and with the time you even see the Milky Way. I don't know if you have experienced that, but from the last years you can't do that, and the reason for that is light pollution. But it has not been always like this. If you look back in time, our ancestors, so back there on the 16th century, a typical scene in a city would be like this. The only source of light would be the moon, the stars, and some fire. This has changed, and even our ancestors used to guide themselves without a GPS, but using the stars. Nowadays, this has been compromised because of the light pollution. How we have added this light pollution, and this on the 19th century, where we have added the first street lighting. By bringing light to the streets, we brought the feeling of safety, adding safety to the streets. Today, what do we have? So if you see in 2024 on the Olympics in Paris, so the same city, this year, what happened? Look, the amount of light we have, the amount of artificial light going up in the sky. This has consequences. So light pollution, it happens when artificial lights from cities, from street lights and buildings flood up in the sky, overpowering the natural darkness of the sky. So you are not able to see the stars anymore. So we see fewer stars and we miss the wonders of the sky at night. And this has effects. There is a visible dome over our cities, driving away the night. The stars are barely recognizable. And artificial light has an impact on animals as well. So if you think about baby turtles, that they search for stars and the moon, so a source of light to guide them to the sea, sometimes they are affected by the artificial light, so instead of running to the sea, they run on the opposite direction. Excessive light also affects your natural rhythm of sleeping and waking. So that means it also affects the human beings. If you are exposed to an excess of light during the day and even during the night, you might have problems for sleeping. And there is, as you can see, this is a map showing in our world, on our planet, where do you have light pollution. And everything, if you look at the map, everything is linked to where there are or where we have big cities with a lot of development and with a lot of availability of electrical energy. There are basically three ways that the light pollution shows up. The first one is the sky glow, which I was mentioning before. So the bright halo that you see above the cities. There is the glare, when the street lights and billboards are really going directly to your eyes, bringing up some temporary blindness. And there is the light trespass. So that means when you have your street lightings and you are at night trying to sleep, you only open a little bit of your curtain and all of the light of the street is going directly into your room. So badly designed street lighting, so badly designed light distribution. And as I said, there is also the impact on the natural environment. So with all that have been said, we as Tridonic, we want to bring back the dark skies and the stars with our solutions of multi-channel drivers and multi-channel modules. My colleague Stephanie will go through what we can offer and what would be the solutions that we will have in our portfolio.
Thank you, Eduardo. And yes, you're right, we do want to bring back the dark sky and the stars. But additionally, we also want to ensure that the pedestrians and all the other street users still remain safe. So how can we do that? In the end, imagine, as Eduardo already mentioned in the beginning, we had the light bulbs with the light distribution all over. With the newest technologies now in the past few years, you're able to distribute the light where it's needed. But not only where it's needed, and also to dim down and dim up the light where and when it's needed. So if you look at this slide, you see, as I mentioned, that you have the bulbs where you distribute the light to the sky. So that means you do not have the dark sky anymore and you don't see the stars that good. So with a single driver, you can change the intensity. But with the multi-channel driver, you can also change the light color. So from a really cold light color to a really warm one. and additionally also changing the intensity during the night. What you see here now are the main use cases we want to discuss in the following. Imagine you walk through a park and you want to be still safe, but also additionally you have the wildlife. And in order to make the impact on the wildlife as small as possible, you should use way warmer light. And this is possible with the multi-channel solution. Another use case is a street where you have cars but also pedestrians. In this case, you can distribute the light, for example, only on the pathway, but not so much on the street, because, for example, the rush hour is over and there are only some joggers in the end during the night who want to be safe. A third use case could be in a big city where you have a nice monument or an event ongoing where you want to change the light. So you want to have it more warm during the night because it just feels better, right? So you can do that as well. So, but now the question is, what do you need for kind of these use cases to ensure that you can meet all of the use cases? In the end, Tridonic is able to offer you a complete lighting solution. Depending on the customer's needs, or on your needs, we can enhance the solution to a more flexible and automated solution. You have the driver plus the module. And I will now go a bit deeper into the module itself, the LED module. We developed the module in a chessboard pattern just to ensure a better light uniformity. Additionally, we use very high efficient LED packages in order to achieve up to 207 lumen per watt. Available in CRI 70 and 80, and the color temperatures can be changed from 2200 up to 4000 Kelvin. The modules are available in two form factors, so basically Zagerbook 15 standards, so 2x4 and 2x8, in order to use also standardized lenses. But without a driver, you can't do anything. So that's why my colleague Eduardo will explain you now a bit more about the driver.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, as Stephanie previously presented, we are together with the multi-channel modules, we are bringing the multi-channel driver. So nowadays, so until the past, what people used to have for implementing such a solution, and a solution that would either change the light color or change the light distribution. They would have two drivers mounted in the luminaire. We are combining these two drivers into a single one. So one driver with two outputs that is able to, according to the module that you are connecting to it, you are able to change the light temperature, so you can even give a command. So now driver go to 2200. The driver calculate the balance between the two light sources that are connected and go to the exact temperature point as the command was given. Or you can also play with the following. You can control these two channels in an independent way. So you can imagine situations where you can control the amount of light that goes in each region of the street. For example, you are at night, it's late at night, 11, there are not a lot of cars, but there are pedestrians walking on the sidewalk. So you can divert the light mostly to the sidewalk while keeping the road illumination as low as possible, since there are no drivers. So that kind of solution, it's what we call the device type 6 DALI, so DALI DT6 can be done with that solution. And for the color changing, you can, so the device is able to answer to commands on the DALI device type 8 standard. So one device, you can select the operating mode to DT8 or DT6. Without going further into the details, but it's clear that one single driver, one single unit means less volume inside the luminaire, so space and cabling becomes way easier. The controlling is much easier because you send one command and the driver itself can calculate and can do the distribution as needed. And one driver has less cost than two drivers. So as I was explaining before, the DT8 capability of this driver is based on the following. You put on the multi-channel LED module, you have the warm and the cold channel, and you can now change the light temperature between these two extremes of the multi-channel device. So that means you can, according to the time, put a colder light source, so a cold color temperature when pedestrians are there, or when it's needed a more efficient lighting on the area that it's to be lit. And late at night you can put a warmer color for not affecting the wildlife, for not bringing bugs and insects into close to the luminaire. So that kind of feature can be done when you combine the multi-channel driver with the multi-channel module. And this is the solution for DT6. So imagine you can now put the right optics and LEDs with the same color temperature, but you can now change this beam of light between these two channels as you want. So that therefore, for example, the 80-watt driver could work as a 50-watt and a 30-watt driver, as two drivers in a single one. So you can split the power of these two channels as you want. So one 80-watt driver can become a 70-watt driver plus a 10-watt driver. So you see the flexibility we bring with this device. So you can put the light where it's needed and when it's needed. If you look at your luminaire, on the left side of the picture, you have the basic solution, which is the driver with the multi-channel modules. And on the right side, all the options that you can add. So you can add the basic dim wireless OTD mode that will allow you to communicate between groups of luminaires. So that means you can control a group of luminaires from a central station. And you see the socket, the Zaga socket, book 18. And the Zaga socket, it's comparable to the USB interface on your computer. You can connect their sensors, communication modules, and so on. And you see the sensors that are present sensors. So you can combine all those components from the very basic solution on the left, multi-channel driver, multi-channel modules, up to group control and presence detection with using sensors. When you do that only with the basic solution, and you see that how effective this solution can be, using the multi-channel driver and the multi-channel modules. For example, if you have the system installed in a park, you can program it that from 6 to 10 in the evening, you run at 80% and at 3000 kelvins. When it reaches 10 in the evening until 3 in the morning, you can change the intensity, for example, to 20% and change the light temperature to a warmer color in order to be compliant and be friendly with the insects and the wildlife that is around. And then when it's 4 a.m., when theoretically persons are coming and start to use the park again, you can increase the light intensity back to 80% and the color temperature to, let's say, 3000, 3200 kelvins. This is one example of the application in the park using DT8. On the other hand, if you are using this as a DT6 and you can change the intensity and distribute the light. For example, you have a road where the cars are passing by, and late in the evening there is nobody on the sidewalk, so you can reduce the light on the sidewalk and keep the road well lit for the safety of the drivers. So that kind of combination can be done with this device, either if you have DT8 or DT6. And of course, when you add on top the capability of having communication between luminaries, so that means you add our basic dim wireless solution on top of your luminaire, you will have the possibility of sending the commands from one luminaire to a group of luminaires. So instead of a single luminaire reacting to the time and the schedule as was explained before, a group or the whole street will be changing the intensity or the color according to the time or according to the presence coming from the presence sensor, as you can see as an example, our P sensor. So we thank you for your time, and we are open for questions and comments. We expect really bring the light of the stars back by controlling the light that we are emitting on our streets. Thank you very much for your time and patience.
So welcome back. Now we are live here out of the Tridonic HQ in Dornbirn, nice Austria. So again, thank you very much for joining so many people and from so different countries. So that's really good to hear. So we're now jumping into the Q&A. Guys out there, please take the time to send your question. There was not so much coming in, but we have some questions here. So if you're ready, I would already start with the first question, guys. Yep,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't be irritated. The questions are coming here on the big screen, so I will just read them for you guys. So the first one: are the LED modules Sagerbook 15 standard?
I think I should answer this question.
Yes.
So yes, definitely they are. According to the Zagerbook standard, we have them in a 2x8 and a 2x4 form factor. And yes, definitely they are following the Zagerbook 15 standard.
By the way, we have received a question about controls, so about outdoor controls. We just spoke before. It would be a great opportunity to also create an own webinar for you where we talk about just purely controls. It was a wish in the chat, so we are not focusing too much on controls, but let me try to do that question. Does the ODD node set the operating mode of a driver automatically to DALI?
Oh, that's my question. Yes. So the node will set directly to DALI. This is a DALI driver, so it's part of the DALI, let's say, environment. So both will be working together with the application controller resting on the OTD node.
Then let me go to the next one. Does the driver works with any LED module supply?
I can answer that one. Yes, of course, but you would be better off with Tridonic modules, of course, but any driver that would fit within the operating window of the driver, that means voltage and current, it would fit. So that means you can use preferably the modules from Tridonic, but yes, in a short note, the answer is yes for your question. It works with one of the suppliers.
So then an LED question, do we plan to have modules available in the version 2x6?
So currently we do have these two form factors already mentioned, but if there is a need, why not? We should maybe consider that, yes. Yeah.
Maybe we go for the next question.
Yeah. What is the color temperature range that can be reached?
Okay, so another question for me, maybe.
Sorry, I just,
So basically, our modules are equipped with a 2200 to 4000 Kelvin, 2 packages, one with 2200 and one with 4000 Kelvin. So that means you can adjust the color temperature between these two colors. Yeah.
Nice. Next one. So now it's really flying. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Is it possible to adjust the light distribution and the color temperature at the same time?
Yeah. Okay. I think I can understand what you're asking. The driver, it operates either on device type 6, so DT6, or DT8 mode. On DT6, you can change the light distribution, so you have a fixed point, which is given by your LED module of choice. So you can change then the light distribution or the balance between the two channels. This is DT6 mode. And on DT8, this is the module, the mode where you can change the color. So you cannot do both at the same time. So you are either operating at DT6 or on DT8 mode.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So next one. Sorry. Do you see do you see a trend to use the
gallium nitrate technology?
Thank you.
To increase the performance of the LED driver. Yes, of course, we are using partially. That question is a very deep on technology, but yes, of semiconductors, we use it, and you can see that the efficiency of our drivers are state of the art, even one of the best that you can have in the market, thanks to measures like the use of the best technology in semiconductors we have available.
Thank you. What is your metrics for light pollution, and how much, what in percentage, you can reduce the light pollution with your proposed solution?
There, as I explained,
exact number, please.
Yeah.
Exact number.
There is no exact number and not an exact way of measuring it. There are, depending on the way, or one of the 3 aspects that I was telling you before on the video. Like, let's say you can measure before and after the amount of glare that you could have it. That means the effect on your eyes. You can measure before and after the amount of light that is being casted over to the sky. So you can compare. There is not a number like, let's say, that is the final number of light pollution, but there are characteristics of the light, like glaring, like emitted light, like light distribution, that you can measure before and after. You can optimize that to minimize the light pollution. Very interesting question.
Adding also sensors, right?
Yes, of course, there are. Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. You use a driver which is able to change the light temperature or change the light distribution, but combine it with sensors, for example, you can then provide an environment where you can control when the light is being turned on and where the light is turned on. So that means you can control the amount of light that you are broadcasting, so that you are casting on your scene. And it comes also with a cherry on top. When you do that, you can also save energy, because when you dim, when there is nobody there, when light's not needed, you dim down, you can save energy. So combining sensors, drivers, and modules, you can find the best economical solution with very low light pollution.
Thank you. Just in the meantime, because as I just said, there was a request of more, let me say, or webinar, dedicated webinar for the controls part. So here the question back to you guys quickly out there is, just give us a bit feedback if you like that type of webinar we are doing now. And as well, also let us know if there are topics you want to see from us, from Tridonic, to do webinars for you. So now we continue with the question. So in sensor mode, we have the possibility to change also the color temperature.
Yes, since we are now with the multi-channel driver, we can, where you before could arrange the intensity, so the dimming, now you can change dimming and intensity.
Okay,
Good.
So
Next
now a super long one. How can you have two different light distributions with different light colors, pathway and road, as you present with your standard LED modules and the standard lenses? These 2x2 lenses are covering both color temperatures.
Good question, and I understand that this question comes up. So basically the difference what Eduardo just explained, the DT6 and DT8, this comes here into the play, right? So if you only want to change the color temperature, yes, these modules are perfectly fine, right? But if you want to then work on a DT6 mode, meaning that you have two different zones you want to enlight, yes, you would definitely need two different, so you cannot use this one basically, but you need two different LED modules with two different colors, and then you can also change the lenses, right? So then you can put the lenses on one module where you have the focus on the pathways, but then you have also maybe another lens type where you have to focus then on the roads, right?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
To be added?
Yeah, that's perfect.
And then if you just was talking about the color and stuff, there was so many questions just start popping up. What's the difference between DT6 and DT8?
Yeah, this was.
Yeah, this was answered, but I can answer again, no problem.
Was it really? Oh, sorry. Then we go further. Sorry.
It's absolutely no problem. But yeah, DT6, as I will repeat, DT6, you change the balance on the power between the two channels. So that means if you forget all the dolly thing and just say like, please, channel 1 go to 20%, channel 2 please go to 60%. That's the command that you send for the dolly, for the driver in DT6 mode. When you are on DT8 mode, the command that you send to the dolly to the driver is, please, dear driver, go to 2300 kelvins. And the driver will then calculate the balance between the two light sources that you have attached to it and then match the target color that you want.
Thank you. So the next one is the chronostep. Is chronostep handling now color temperature as well as dimming levels?
Yes. So that means everything that you used to tune in terms of intensity, now on top of that, using the multi-channel, you can have intensity and color temperature as well.
So now we have a super long one.
Yeah, that's a long.
Can you program the luminaires to be limited to say to 20% light output? For example, from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. However, if a vehicle or person is detected, then the lights will go up to 100% for a short time again, until person and vehicles pass by.
Oh yes, that's a very application-oriented question, and it's a very nice question that I would say, because this really shows the capability of this solution. So using the driver and the sensor, you will be able to say from that time to that time, the light will go down, and the light and the color temperature you can set. And when someone enters, so when there is presence detected on the detection zone, you can react to the presence on the intensity. So you can put more light, and you can even select what is the temperature or what is the color of the light being emitted on the event of a presence within the area of detection of the sensor.
Okay, to sum up, yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah, exactly. I am a PM, so I have the tendency to extend.
No, it's good. all good. So, what are the available CCT and CRI?
This is a question for me.
Yeah. Yes.
So CCT, as said already, 2,200 until 4,000. You can change that. And the CRI, we have it in 70 and 80 available.
And I think this question, which is here, is, oh, sorry, thank you very much. So the next question goes, I think, again to the chronostep, where they're asking, is there a real-time clock available?
No, there is no real-time clock available. what we have is that we have what we call the virtual midnight. So we count the time that the lights were on for the last 3 or 5 nights. We do an average, and then we can calculate where would be this virtual midnight. So that means we can define the time before and after this calculated value. So there is no real-time clock inside the components.
Good, so then let me see the next one. Any chance to develop a 4-channel D4i DT8 driver with RGB WAF in the future?
Wow, if we would do a RGB WAF, it would be 6 channels anyway.
Yeah.
But 4 channels, there is some plans in the future. On the mid-term, there are plans from Tridonic side to start developing 4 channels, as we see this tendency developing further, because you can also use this kind of solution to highlight some monuments in your city with special colors and so on. So you can use that as well.
Okay. For the moment, you have sensors available for Saga 18 connector, but what if you want to use technology in zones where people can touch it? In short, are you planning to make sensors modules that can be implemented into bollards?
Yes, we do have plans, and we are working on that topic of having sensors integrated into bollards. So basically the Saga, it's something that is coming out, and the more the bollards, more to be integrated within the light source or within the light head, that you cannot touch it. Yes, we do have it.
So basically in wireless, maybe known to some of you, we do have that on the roadmap that we integrated in an IP20 housing. So that means it's compact and it's small. You do not have the Targa socket, but you have 2 cables coming out, which can be then connected within the luminaire to the driver.
Can you recalculate for DT8 if you need 2200 Kelvin to 3000?
Yes, yes, you can. So that means when you are programming the driver, you can say what are the reference points that they have on each of the channels. So you can say, depending on the LED module that you are using, that channel 1 is 2200, channel 2 is 3000, and the driver will then calculate everything based on that.
Thanks. The next question I like a lot. It says, are these new parameters programmable through the U6Me2 profile? I like that a lot.
Why?
Still in use?
Still in use. It's still in use. Yeah, that's true. A little bit of history. Klaus is a great supporter of this technology. Yes, there was an update on the U6Me2 that you are able also to program not only the intensity but also the color temperature using this protocol.
The rated power of drivers is the total power, or is that the power per channel?
Okay, that's mine. Yeah, the rated power of the driver is the maximum output power that you can have by the sum of the 2 channels. So that means we have the 40, the 80, and the 120 watt drivers. That means, let's take as an example the 40 watt driver. The sum of channel 1 plus channel 2 will never exceed the 40 watts. So it's not the case that you have a 40 watt drivers and you can put on channel 1 and channel 2 40 watts, because at the end of the day you would have an 80 watt driver. So the idea is that there is the rated power, and this is the sum of the both channels at any given point in time.
Okay, so there is a very similar question coming here. Just put them in before I go to the other one. What about the power rating of multi-channel drivers? I think that's you just answered.
That's exactly.
That's so
40.
There was 2 questions very similar.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
40,
yeah. Okay.
80, and 120 watts. So you can think from a small area up to a bigger area when you use the 120 watt, and everything DALI certified and compatible with our control devices.
So very, how many LED chips does Tridonic use for LED modules to achieve CCT from 2.7 to 4K?
How many LED chips?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the 2x4, we have 8, and for the 2x8, we have 16 LED chips.
Yes, and it's blue chips with phosphor converted coat on it. So this is how we reach it. So there is yeah, there's some IP in the back.
Okay, okay, good. In case I want to use a bigger CCT range than Tridonic is offering on the modules, what is the color temperature range that the multi-channel driver can handle in DT8 mode?
So we can go from 1,700 up to 5,000 kelvins. So you can put any reference between these ranges that the driver, or let's say the algorithm that runs inside the driver, will be able to solve for that.
So now I think we have a bit more simpler question. What means 2x4 in the LED modules?
Nice question.
Yeah.
Simple question, simple answer. So basically it means we have two rows with each 4 LED modules yeah, near to each other.
Okay.
I think you can see it through the camera.
And when you have the 2x6, then is
2x8.
2x8. Sorry.
Again, 2 lanes and with each 8 chips. Yes.
Okay.
What?
No,
No, done. No, I don't want to.
So next
question.
What are the available form factors?
So again, 2x4 and 2x8.
Good.
Sorry, can you use a sensor to change the color temperature when the person is detected? I think that was very similar.
Yes, exactly, exactly. That's because it may be repetitive as the questions are coming, but yes, I repeat that almost like a mantra. What you used to do with intensity on your controls, let's say change the intensity as a function of the time, as a function of presence, you can also do now with the color. So you can also react as function of time and as a function of presence in terms of color. So you can change now color and intensity using the multi-channel drivers from Tridonic. Good.
So and then there comes also a nice question like, because it's about basic in wireless, we need a basic in wireless control node expanding for bigger networks in cooperation with DT6, DT8 for outdoor drivers. So, well, I would say there we have already a super nice device with a super distance range. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, for a really super big range to use it. So this guy, he is the right one to do so. But again, we will talk about that in our controls webinar.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, this is not a difficult one, but let's see if we can do it. Are Tridonic drivers dimming with PWM?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. At which frequency?
If yes, no, we are not driving with PWM. So there are some, let's say, from a long time we are not using PWM anymore. So pulse width modulation for controlling, for dimming the light. So we dim with amplitude. So that means there is no PWM dimming. And I'm glad with that. My eyes and your eyes will be glad with that.
That's true. Yeah.
There is no the side effects of having the LEDs blinking and flickering.
Thank you, Eden, for going for that. Thank
exactly. We are all happy with this.
Yeah, check. What are the surge ratings for drivers?
Well, it's yeah.
Oh, hey.
No, those drivers, they can go up to 10 kilovolts in surge, so that means very, very robust for the application. So it's meant to be outdoor.
What is the lifetime for Tridonic LED modules?
It's 8 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
8 years of warranty.
Yeah.
Yes.
do you know what the G index is? It is more, and would you see as a connection between the G index and your solution?
Good question.
Yeah.
So for the people who have been at the Light and Building, there was also a topic which was connected to the multi-channel solution there. So yes, we do see a connection there. And to answer your question, what the G index is, so the G index is basically the amount of blue light emitted, so the amount of the emitted blue light per lumen. So this is a value, and you can find this value as well on our data sheets. And just an input, so everything what is below 1.5 of this value is actually good. And so, for example, 2200 Kelvin, you would reach 2.2 G index. So this can be found as well on our data sheet. So, and what is this? The blue light, it actually is it has a negative impact on us as humans, but also on animals. So when they do hunting or when they do when they just
Live out there.
Exactly. This is not very nice for them if there is light with a lot of blue content actually.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
It's a very interesting topic, because one of a very interesting fact that you have with outdoor lighting, that even if you do everything right with G index, with the right color temperature, but if you do not control the amount of light, you can still affect the wildlife. And you know how? Because the predators can easily see their prey, and they can affect the balance of the wildlife in that area. So you give an advantage to predators in order to take their prey, so you can unbalance the wildlife on it. So that's interesting.
So we have, I think, for the moment, the last question. So we still have around 10 minutes, but let us go for that one on. So now you have me a bit, please, on multi-channel drivers. Does the LEDs need necessarily be mounted on the same board? Can I have it separate? Can I have separate modules?
Yes, yeah, that's absolutely no problem. So you can connect, imagine that this would be like 2 modules. You can connect one in channel 1, one on channel 2. So that does not need to be both channels on the same substrate. Okay. There is absolutely no problem. So you can think about a solution on a DT6 where you have 2 luminaires head, one light in the street and the one light in the sidewalk. So I will try my best here with acrobatics to show that. So one LED module would be there on the road, and the second LED module would be on the sidewalk, and both would then be controlled by a single 2 channels driver, which uses less space and is cheaper than 2 drivers, isolated drivers, and also it's easier to wire the whole thing. So during the production of the luminaire, it's also way easier to do that with a multi-channel driver.
Okay, thank you. So I would say we go to the end of the webinar. Thank you very much, guys. Again, think of topics which you would like to see from us. So please rate that webinar. So give us a short feedback again in the question function, shortly to say how you like that webinar. That would be really helping us if we can improve on it. I know I come up now with a lot of topics. So the next one, which is also I have 2 questions. That's more simpler now to answer for you out there. Also use the question function. It's simple to do. If you think that our solution for less light pollution is feasible, then please type in just the Q number 1 and send it. So then we know, okay, that's you're looking for. Or then the second one, if you're currently working on an outdoor lighting project, just send us the number 2. So like in the old way when you had the SMS and typed in the super simple. And If you want to be contacted by one of our sales members, so please just type in contact into the question box. So that means we will forward it to the region and they will then more be happy to go in contact with you. Yeah, I would say this was it.
Good.
And Eduardo, Stephanie, thank you very much for being here. Looking
Thank
forward.
you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining. There are some questions that were not answered for the sake of time, but feel free to drop us an email on that and send your question directly or to the organization. We'll try to solve it and to answer that as soon as possible. Thank you very much for your time, and we will organize a webinar with exclusive for controls on outdoor lighting.
We'll do so. Thank you very much. It was a cool session.
Thank you.
Out there, thank you very much for your participation and for you active bringing questions into it. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great day.